Hello, Fight News. I'm here with Lovemore Ndou, former three-time world champion, and I'm going to ask Lovemore about George Kambosos, who he predicted 5 years ago would be the world champion. How are you, Lovemore?
Ray, I'm good. It's always great to see you, my friend.
You too, Lovemore. You're looking very fit, mate. You looks like you're down on the junior welterweight division.
Been training, Ray. Lots of few kilos, and I'm feeling really good. I always believe in good health. You can have all the money in the world, but if your health is not good, it's not the best thing in the world. So I always focus, pay attention on my, on my health.
I would agree with that 100%, mate. Lovemore, it was great to see George Kambosos pull off that great win to win the WBA, WBO, IBF, and WBC franchise titles last Saturday.
Right. All I can say is George has pretty much, cemented his name in the history books. He's done what no other Australian has ever done. He's won, he's won all the belts in just one fight. In his first world title shot. And Ray, it all comes down to hard work, dedication and self-belief. I know George from years back. I did train with him. I would say about 4 or 5 years ago. I did a bit of sparring with him, and I could tell right there that the kid was going to be a world champion. And I remember I even did an interview with you, and I predicted that he and Team Zoo were our future world champions, and it just happened. He won the world title.
So what did you see in George Kambosos that stood out as far as having that ability to win a world title?
Look, the first thing was, his self-belief. The kid believes in himself, and the kid trains so hard. He's dedicated, and he will stand up against anyone. He doesn't doubt himself. That in itself just made me believe that he was going to be a world champion today. And when I say believe in himself, some people think it's too cocky, but it's a good thing to be cocky in boxing. As long as you do it with a bit of respect, which he has done.
Yeah.
He's a very down-to-earth young man. He's always got his dad around him. Who's managing him and supporting. A great team. Look, I even helped him out. Even with his contract when he signed up with Dibella. I gave him a few advice in relation to some of the clauses in his contract. Great person. He deserves to win the world title. It's great for Australian boxing as well.
Now, his first defence of the title, they're talking about it will probably be against Devin Haney in Sydney or Melbourne. He hopes to attract around 80,000 people. Let's hope he can do it. Eddie Hearn said he's very keen to come down here. What's your thoughts on George fighting Devin Haney?
Look, there's some good fights out there for George. I think he has a good chance of beating Haney. If he performs the same way he did against Lopez, he can definitely beat him. I think in that fight, George proved a lot of things. One thing, he proved that he's got a good chin. Yeah. He also proved that he can bang if he needs to, and he also proved that he can box. So if he and he also proved that he's got a big heart. So if he can bring all those on the table, he'll beat Haney. There are some other good fights out there for him. Ryan Garcia is also a good fight for him. But personally, I think Ryan is overrated, and I think Kambosos, will beat him. Will beat him.
Let's start favourite over.
I believe he can beat him easy.
Tank Davis would be a very tough fight.
That would be a very tough fight. But again, if George comes, into the fight the same way he did against Lopez, it's a good chance of him, winning that fight. It's a 50-50 fight. Tank Davis is a great fighter. He's a big puncher as well. But it's all up to George. If he maintains that, if he maintains that self-belief, and perseverance and all that, he'll definitely win.
So he could really go on to be, he's almost a superstar now, but he could be one of the greatest champions.
Like I said, he's done what he's done now no other Australian has ever done.
No, that's true.
You know,
All
and
the belts on the line.
you know,
He beat one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world. Lopez had the win over Lomachenko.
definitely did that. And look, he's already a superstar just from winning that fight. And look, he's got a good promoter in Ludi Bella. You know, Ludi Bella, we're gonna take him, you know, to places. So, you know, he's got the right team behind him, and I can definitely see him becoming, if he keeps going the same way, could someday become pound for pound, you know, the best.
Eddie Hearns said he's very keen to come down to Australia and promote that fight in Australia. He's got some connections already with other Australian fighters, Dempsey Kane, Liam Paro, Ebony Bridges, and also Brock Jarvis. So it's going to be a good opportunity for Eddie Hearn to come to Australia and promote George and maybe some of those guys on the undercard.
Well, I think it would be great for Australian boxing. You know, we need promoters like that in Australia, and we also need fighters like George, you know, to keep, you know, boxing active in Australia. The sport is kind of dying a little bit. You know, the only person that pretty much kept the sport going the past few years was Anthony Mandin. You know, you gotta give that to Chuck. You know, he kept the sport going, but now that he's retired, we need another we need another name. And I think George Kambosos can do that. We got young Tim Tszyu as well. You know, I can see Tim Tszyu, you know, pretty much doing the same thing as George. You know, winning.
Are you unified champ next year?
Definitely winning all the titles at once, and you know, he's
Charlo and Castano fight in February, so he's rated #1 with the WBA, so he's got to get that shot.
If he gets a shot, you know, like I said again, I predicted him to win a world title years ago, and I can see that happening.
That's great because you predicted well. You also predicted Canelo to beat Triple G, mate. And that came to fruition too, Lovemore. So
well, I fought Canelo, so you know I knew.
Yeah, you picked Canelo, so mate, you certainly know how to pick him, Lovemore. Well, that's great, mate. Good to see you back in town, Lovemore.
It's good to be back. I've been away for a while, you know, but I've been keeping in shape, as you can tell. And yeah, you know.
No more comebacks.
No more comebacks. You know, I'm still thinking. You know, I'm still, you know, as people know, I've been talking about, doing an exhibition to raise money for South Africa. I'm still working on that. You know,
Floyd Mayweather.
I'm still having discussions with, Anthony Mandin, and I'm, you know, also, you know, talking to the Mayweather people to see if we can do that exhibition, you know, to raise money for South Africa.
You certainly look fit enough to do it, Lovemore.
I'm in great shape. I've been training really hard. I'm in good shape.
Well, welcome back, Lovemore, and thanks for your time, buddy.
Thank you, Ray. It's always a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you, Lovemore.